I think most of us, when we think about Eden, the Garden of Eden, as God created it and placed Adam and Eve in it, we think of it as ultimate perfection. But actually, I think we should think about Eden not in terms of perfection, but in terms of potential. You see, Eden, as God created it, it was pristine and beautiful, but yet if you think about it, it wasn't completely secure. How do we know that? Well, Adam and Eve were told about this one tree, this tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and they were told, in the day you eat of it, you shall surely die. So there was potential for death there. We also read that evil entered into this garden in the form of a serpent, so it wasn't completely secure. And also, it was limited. If we think about it, we realize that as God created the heavens and the earth, it says it was formless and void and darkness covered the earth. And there he created a garden. And Adam and Eve were told to work and keep the garden and to be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. So as they were fruitful and multiplied, the earth was eventually to be filled with image bearers, and the boundaries of this beautiful Garden of Eden were to one day extend to every corner of the earth. But at this point in Eden, it was limited. Adam and Eve were made in the image of God, and the psalmist says that man was crowned with glory and honor, so they had a measure of the glory of God, and yet they didn't have the fullness of glory that they were intended to have should they pass the test that was inherent there in that tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So as we think about Eden, rather than thinking about perfection and rather thinking about returning to Eden, instead, I think what the Bible presents to us is to instead look forward to a future in which we are going to enter a new garden. Let's call it Eden 2.0. A new garden that is in fact better than Eden. You see, in this garden, it will be perfectly secure. We read in Revelation 21 that nothing evil will ever enter it. When we enter into this garden, it will not be marked by death, but eternal, abundant, unending life. This garden will not be limited to a certain area within a vast wilderness. No, this new garden that's going to be even better than Eden, it's going to cover the entire earth. And in this garden, we will not have just a measure of glory. You see, all who enter into this garden, all whose names are written in the Lamb's Book of Life, all who have taken hold of Christ by faith, the book of Philippians says that on that resurrection day, when Christ returns to welcome us into this new garden, that he's going to give us glorious bodies like his own. Right now, there is only one glorified human being, and that is Jesus Christ himself. But Resurrection Day is coming, my friends. And on that day, we are going to become fully glorified. We're going to share in the glory of Jesus forever in a garden that's going to be even better than Eden.